right, what's up, GP? Granger, and Granger. We'll let you figure out who that is later. Welcome to the podcast again. You asked for it, you got it. Here we go. Y'all just had some fun. Papa?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I was about to say that.
Come on.
Legally, brand new daddy.
Do it.
Yep. June 5th, adopted my baby boy out of Florida.
All right.
It's official.
If we had drinks, we'd toast to it.
Totally do right here.
Granger. Little Granger.
Little Granger vodka. Little Granger Deluxe vodka right here.
Deluxe.
We kicked the last one off with Ghost Wipes. That was awesome.
Yeah, I should have played a lottery for that.
No, you didn't.
Because now I should have. Because now it's like a marker.
Oh, yeah, of course. Yeah.
It's like the opposite.
It's
like the opposite.
Yeah.
Now, I got a question, though. So,
oh, God. We're back here again. This is awesome. Go.
No, real quick.
Go.
Real quick.
No,
I started thinking about this. Like,
yeah.
What's your go-to? Like, what happens when you just keep wiping and wiping and wiping? Like, what do you do? Do you Manpon it?
Do you what?
Chris Pratt said this one time. Do you remember this?
He said he's the one who came up with the marker.
Yeah.
Like,
well, yeah, but he's also the one who's like, I keep wiping and I keep. He was in a blooper
He's
reel.
a doctor.
He was in a blooper reel. Yeah, for Parks and Rec. He was like, I just keep wiping. It's just there, like every time. I just can't get rid of it. I don't know.
What did you ask? What do we do with it?
What's your go-to?
No, but from that you said something about do you
Manpon it?
Manpon it?
Manpon, where you wipe where you roll up the toilet paper and you stick it in there, and then you just let it sit there. Do you have
Manpon? I never even.
It's a Manpon.
I never even
It's like rolled up.
32nd year old knowing this. I'm 30 seconds old knowing this. I have never even heard of a Manpon.
Yeah, Manpon, where you roll it up, looks like a tampon, but it's a toilet paper, and it's rolled up, and then you stick it in your crack, and and it just stays there. So no, I'm guessing you don't do it.
You're starting.
I'm guessing
every single podcast we do, you are starting it.
I'm guessing Adam doesn't do that.
Golly, this is awesome.
You don't either.
This is so awesome. I've never even heard of it.
There's got to be a go-to. Though.
I was going to ask you if you got dude wipes.
You not just yes, we do. I do have dude wipes.
Yeah,
but you don't just walk around dirty booty.
No,
like
you got to do some scrubbing. I mean, for sure.
Yeah, so you just got to do it.
You got to scrub clean. You can't be walking around all chafed and whatever.
I got to admit that we have this on video and on audio that I have been left speechless. Even I will recognize that I don't get speechless much. But I have done it today.
Lord, dude!
This is not. Congratulations.
That is. I mean,
I have no words.
I really didn't either. Except I've never heard of it.
I got nothing.
Like that is so brand new. Manpon. We need to. Tidbits of Audacity Manpons. That's our first merchandise item. Come in little tubes and the whole thing, man. They'll look great. We're progressive.
A little softer.
We're progressive. Yeah.
Anyway.
Softer on the booty hole. That's great.
Yeah, there's a fun term about it, but there's nothing out there. I think we need to create one. For when your booty just leaves markers. That's terrible. We'll have to come up with a better.
Yeah, for when the wiping won't end. I don't know. We'll bring Chris back. Hey, Chris,
first,
hold of us.
Chris Pratt will be in there.
First person that comes up with a good slogan, you get the first set of Manpons
for free. Yeah, love it. That's crazy. All right,
what do you got, Adam?
What do I have?
Y'all just got back from the beach too. Y'all back
that's true. That was our weekend.
Yeah,
celebrated the adoption. Nothing better than adoption, in my opinion. So, did the adoption. It's legal. And yeah, Florida has a sun and beaches. It's pretty wild.
Yeah, Florida has a sun.
Yeah, I was going to say because I, thinking about a life update. I don't have a life update. I'm just the same old idiot. Same old idiot.
I wouldn't say that.
What you been getting into?
You've been different kinds of idiots quite a bit.
That's true. I get a plethora of idiots. I'm multi-idioted.
Isn't that idiom?
Something. No, I don't know. There's really nothing really happening except. No, there really isn't anything happening. Bristol graduated. Ramadi graduated. That's about it. There ain't really a whole lot happening. I'm just kind of chugging away at school.
School sucks.
It does. I'm a little bit overwhelmed right now, but the thing is, once I get through this semester I'm in right this second, it literally, coursework takes a nosedive because now I'm getting into all the internships and all this other stuff.
Yeah.
There's an entire thing dedicated to just exam prep. Like,
Yeah.
you know, so the coursework goes out the window. I've got like I got quite a bit coming up though in the next couple of weeks, so it's really a little stressful, quite stressful actually.
I specifically hate college because it's different as an older person going through college, because a lot of this is set up for 18, 19, 20-year-olds. And when you have, I'm 38 and you're 49, and when you go through, or I know you started when you were 45, 46.
44 actually, because I did the 4 years and now I'm in my.
Oh, sure, yeah. But it's just, I hate it for two reasons. Number one, because it is set up that way and it's very like kiddie, if you will. And then another part of it is I'm doing this so I can do my own thing. And then when I have somebody telling me that I have to do it a certain way and I have to do things in a certain structure, and I'm like, I don't want to do this way. I want to do it my way.
This must be a Granger thing, because I feel the exact same way about both points.
Yeah. And I've even gotten into it with professors. Like, I don't want anything to do with you. Leave me alone.
Yeah. I'm in a class right now that just made me do an assignment on how to make a resume. I was like, I've been at a job in the mental health field for a year and a half on a resume I submitted a year and a half ago. I'm not changing it.
Yeah.
I got the job with this resume. Have a great rest of your day. And of course, they sent one back going, you should update it by doing this, and give me like 20 points. I was like, have a good day.
Yeah.
Just for the record, Jonathan wasn't talking like metaphorically. He literally told the professor, I want nothing to do with you. Leave me alone.
That's 100% what I said. That
Oh, that is great.
That's 100% what I said.
I didn't say it. I didn't say those things in those words, but I did tell one professor, like, you're telling people lies and you're an idiot and have a good rest of your life. Like, I did do that.
You know, I had a professor email me and he said, hey, what's going on? Just checking up on you. And I didn't respond because I don't want to. And then he sent me another one like a day or two later. And he's like, hey, just make sure when I send you an email, you send me one back within 48 hours. And I said, do I have to? Because I'm not a 19-year-old kid going through this. I'm a grown man with grown man responsibilities, and I'm just here to learn. I said, I want nothing to do with you or anything, or I don't need any pick me up from you or anything. I said, I'm here to do my own thing. And I said, these are the exact words that I said. And he came back with something. Right. He came back with something, and I was like, well, you get the least out of me from this, because unless it affects my grades, I do not care. So I want nothing to do with you. That's what I said in the third email. So I don't want nothing to do with you.
I did not say it in those words, but I have told a couple of professors, like, look, I'm not 18, so that's why you're not getting a lot. Because I had one like, you're not as quite as involved. And I was like, look, because I'm not 18. Yeah. I've been doing this. Yeah. Like, let's move on. And then, and then of course, like I said, the resume building stuff and how to develop a career. And it's like, come on, man. Like, I get that. If I was 18, I'd love that, and I'd need it.
Yeah, exactly, and that's different. I understand it for young adults.
I don't need it. Let's move on. Now, I did have one professor that understood that and literally leave me alone. You could tell she was riding some of the people that were in the class that were 20, 22. Yeah. And when it came to me, she just went, and she just left me alone. And I noticed it. I recognized. I was like, that is cool. She knew. She's like, you're 45 years old. We're going to leave you alone. Yeah. So that was cool.
Yeah. I've had a couple of those. Like, just
because
I write, sometimes I like to be funny. So I'll be writing something serious, and I'll throw in a Star Wars reference. And the professor would be like, nice one. Like, and they'll leave you alone. It is what it is. But yeah, I had the same thing.
I was jacking some people up the other day. They were like, name a movie title that ages you. One of the first movies you saw. And people were like, Happy Gilmore. Oh. And I was like, Return of the Jedi. Like, let's go back.
I thought you watched the first one.
I may have, but I don't remember it.
I just remember
it. I remember 1977.
Right. Oh, okay.
Return of the Jedi?
No,
I thought that was 82.
83. He was on the first one. The first one was 77.
Yeah. Now, that was
77, 80, 83. So Empire Strikes Back.
Well, no, wait. I do remember a movie from 1980. Stripes came out in 1980.
You watched that movie?
You watched that movie
in 1980?
Your mother took me to that movie.
You were 3.
Hey,
5.
To be fair,
you were 3.
You're right.
To be fair, she took Nate to see basketballs. So, yes. And it was like Nate was like 14.
We'll see.
Your mother took me to see Stripes. And here's what's funny. I spent the whole movie like this.
Yeah.
This is all she like the whole movie. She just went.
Yeah.
Like this. It was like, why did you? She goes, I just didn't know it was gonna be like that. Whatever. I got a much bigger failure than that, I think.
Do not watch Stripes.
I took Rainey Lynn I got an excuse. I'm going to set it up before I even tell you. I mean, I took her to see. Okay, the first Dumb and Dumber was funny, right? Just funny and stupid funny. So her and I go see the second one.
Ooh.
The entire movie was one long sexual innuendo.
And not even funny ones either.
It wasn't that funny. It was okay. Some of it was funny. I think it'd have been much funnier had I not been sitting next to my daughter.
That might have been, yeah.
That
I don't
would've
remember
been
being
funny.
that funny, but I don't remember being cringing. But I didn't have a kid sitting next to me, you know.
That will change everything.
Yeah.
Like
I'm
having
sure
a
it will.
kid, even, you know, yeah, when they're there, you pick up on things you don't pick up on normally.
Well, I'm that way with mom and dad. If I ever watch something with dad, I'm like, ooh, I didn't realize it had that. Then I start getting uncomfortable.
Yeah, that's what it was. Is I just couldn't enjoy it because she was sitting in there. I probably would have enjoyed it. She was 13 when we went and saw that. I mean, it's like that was 10 years ago, I guess now. But whatever. Hey, just pause for the cause. All right, and since we paused, we might as well give some shout outs to people that make this thing roll. After the pause, we need to talk about some people that made this happen today. One is our behind the glass producer, Nate Dog.
Nate
Dog. Our editor-in-chief, our editor, Kenny G, in the house. Kenny G's amazing.
Nate Dogg and Kenny G. Mount
Kenny
up.
G so far. Mount up.
Sorry.
And then tonight's host is none other than Stephen O'Brien's Allstate Agency. You can find them at 612 Hartsville Pike in Gallatin, Tennessee. Office phone number 615-442-8688. 615-442-8688. That is a number you can go for all of your insurance needs, personal lines primarily.
Yeah, you can.
And actually, I'm about to go over to him from Farm Bureau. True story.
I'm with him right now.
Oh yeah, okay. So that's who's hosting us tonight. Give them a shout for insurance. Got the shout out and a plug.
All right.
Oh,
You need something? I mentioned it last time. This is my 90s segment.
I know
90s.
it's coming. I was about to say I know it's coming. Here it is.
Where's the graphic 90s?
Make it happen, Kenny. All right. So, I am now of the belief that the 90s was the last great decade of music and the greatest decade of music in the back end. And I say back end, starting with the 60s. I mean, we can go 50s if we want, but who wants to go that far back? And I say because of the diversity of music. So this ain't just I'm a rock grunge guy, but this is not just because of that. So the 60s you've got, and I did a look up of number one songs by genres. So this is data driven. This isn't just my feelies, right? Like, oh, I like the Red Hot Chili Peppers. It's the best. It's like, all right, how many did it, right? So the 60s, you've got rock and roll, which would include the Beatles, Rolling Stones, right? Even Beach Boys. Motown, Marvin Gaye, Aretha Franklin. Somebody pop has Elvis listed under that. I think Elvis is more pop. I know it's supposed to be rock and roll, but and then Bob Dylan, the Byrds, right? Pop, folk. I mean, not pop, folk. So there's what? 4. In the 70s, you had pop, Elton John, Carpenters. You got rock, Eagles, Fleetwood Mac. Disco was a thing at that time, right? So those are little things. So 70s could because they had. No other decade did you have that. You have pop in all these decades, right? You have rock in all these decades. You had the Bee Gees, Donna Summer, which I don't know if you call Donna Summer. Some of it would be disco, but Bee Gees for sure. Bee Gees, excuse me. R&B, soul, Stevie Wonder, Diana Ross, James Brown, and then country starts to kick in like, big. Dolly Parton in the 70s, right? She's still doing stuff. 80s, pop, Michael Jackson, rock, R&B, Whitney Houston, Janet Jackson, country, still Dolly Parton, Kenny Rogers. But then you got the 90s. You got pop. You have R&B. You have rap. You have rock. And then you have country. And all of those dominated at some point. Like Mariah Carey was the top person, period. Forget pop. She was it at one point. R&B, Boyz II Men. Like I think they still have the longest reign of number one song, and they're tied. The only 2 other artists replaced themselves at number one. Like they had the number one, and then their next song took over number one, replaced themselves. Them and the Beatles are the only ones that have ever done that. You have rap, which at one point that mid '90s, Tupac, Biggie Smalls. That
There really was an explosion in the 90s in rap where we just didn't. It wasn't the thing in the 80s that it was in the 90s.
It wasn't. I mean,
it's just that it was a different thing.
You had Run DMC. You had some rap groups that come with the Fat Boys. They were big, but they weren't number one. Like they weren't top. They became top, and you could even though they never made it number one. NWA and groups like that ushered in what you had where you had Tupac and even Puff Daddy. All allegations aside, he was the top rap artist, right? You had rock, Nirvana, and Pearl Jam. They created their own genre, right? It was rock, but it was really grunge, right? And it was like a 3 or 4 year period where they were dominating. And then you got country. Garth Brooks is as big an artist as any artist.
Dude, there's never going to be another decade like 90s country.
Period. Right.
Period.
It's like country was as good as it ever was in the 90s.
And I can speak to the country side of it. That I was in rooms with these guys that were writing these songs, and they were just crafted like artists. It wasn't just, well, I got in a fight with my woman, so I went outside and wrote a song. It wasn't that. Like, you wrote a song, and then they critiqued one word in that song, and then said, we've got to change it because that word's not right. And they would change one word and then go, okay, that made it better, but then that made me think, let's change this line. And then you go and change that. Like, that's the writing of the 90s country was like pieced art. It was like you put a bunch of pieces of a puzzle, and then by the time you went just right, and then went, yup, there it is. And it's this piece of art that was just phenomenal. The type of writing, the style of writing, how well they were writing hooks, how well they were writing around them. One of the things that was an indicator of the 90s was you tried to write your second verse better than the first verse. When a lot of genres, the second verse was just time to get back to the chorus. It's just a wasted space to get back to the chorus. In the 90s, country music in the 90s, they were big on make that second verse better than the first verse. Don't give it a throwaway, which was one of the things that made 90s countries so good. You can go listen to second verses and sometimes like those better than the first verse. And most people that write songs, you got your idea out in first verse chorus 90% of the time. You came with an idea, and what you had was a first verse and a chorus, and then you're like, I don't know anything else.
Well, I think that's because they were telling stories.
True.
I mean, it was a story. Now,
True.
I agree with everything, but it was stories, right? It wasn't just, like you said, it wasn't just, I'm going to go drink a beer and pet my dog. Shoot, they had songs about their dog, they're going to die, and they want to make sure their dog gets taken care of. Like, if I die, feed Jake, man. So, I in my opinion, and we can touch on 2000s a little bit, because you had just about the same amount of genres, but it kind of, to me, it starts watering down. I just feel like the 90s was the the peak of music as a whole. And like I said, this is more than just what I like. I'm looking at as a whole. It's just hard to argue. I mean, to your point, you're talking about the way country was written, but I think Mariah Carey, Boyz II Men sang songs that, had some depth to them. Not all of them, but they were some depth.
Well, they were well-written songs.
They
too.
were, and they hit the top of the charts. And you were so young, you probably don't remember any of this.
I know One Sweet Day is a good song. It is One Sweet Day. Yeah.
Brad Paisley made a bunch of people mad during that era because he was talking. Actually, it wasn't even during that era. It was more into the 2000s. But he made a comment that country writers just write better songs. And man, pop and R&B and he just pissed everybody off. He wasn't. Every genre was pissed off when he said that.
Well, I think when it comes to pure writing, right? And I'm not a country guy necessarily. I like country, but I'm not. But I think with pure writing, he ain't wrong, especially like you're describing the 90s. I don't think writing is better than that.
Look,
and again, I'm not a country guy.
I'm thinking
but I can
like,
recognize greatness.
Like Doug Stone when he said, "I'd be better off in a pine box on a slow train back to Georgia."
On a slow train?
Yeah, bring it, Neville.
Not Aaron Neville.
I was Aaron Neville.
I know, the way he does it always makes me think of it.
Yeah, he does. Doug Stone does do that. He has that.
Aaron Neville just entered this chat.
I mean, all of them. Dude, who were we talking about the other day? The group I thought was better than Diamond Rio. Restless Heart.
Oh yeah, I mean that's my three favorite: Restless Heart, Diamond Rio, and Eagles. That's my three favorite bands. Period.
Yeah, so many good songs.
Restless Heart was solid. They were solid. Because they were influenced by the Eagles, so they had that. Heavily influenced by the Eagles. They had that smooth Glenn Fry thing. Like everything was real smooth. And whereas Diamond Rio had a little bit more bite about them. I stopped walking your way. You know, they had that thing happening. Whereas the Restless was the bluest skies in Texas. You know, that kind of thing. So it was a unique thing, a unique time for that music. But yeah, I mean, those guys were amazing. Here's the thing, too. They were players. They all played their own stuff. And oddly enough, it became a thing in the sort of the mid to late 90s where bands weren't allowed to really play their own stuff. I was just watching a thing on the Rascal Flatts today, and I remember when I was still friends with the Rascal Flatts, I remember them just being super angry that they weren't allowed to play on their own record. They didn't play on their first album and maybe first 2 albums. They finally got to play on their 3rd album. Joe Don finally played electric on that album, and Jay played maybe bass or keys. I forget what maybe both. I don't remember. But he got to play on that. That was like, it just wasn't a thing. But you look at Diamond Rio, those guys were phenomenal musicians. They did instrumental songs on their albums that would kill people. Nobody could even do it. They were like, you couldn't even touch it. They just do an instrumental and kill it. And they do it live. I go, well, watch this. We ain't just on studio. We can actually do this live because it's a little bit harder to do it on the fly. You know, anyway.
So that's my opinion. I'm sticking to it.
Ooh, that's my story, and I'm.
See, there we are. Colin Ray. We're back to the 90s, bro. We didn't even leave.
I saw him live. He's a trip. He's good.
Yes.
Just like a month ago or whatever.
Oh, yeah.
He's still energetic and great. It was a good time.
Which one of y'all wanted to talk about Caitlyn Clark?
Not necessarily Caitlyn Clark. I just wanted to bring up. I see it a lot now. I guess we all do. And the season's just started and all that, and it's always Caitlyn Clark versus Angel Reese, which that needs to go away. But I don't know what the pull is, and maybe we can talk about what we think the pull is of why people want to see Caitlyn Clark and why she's selling out in the Bulls arena and why she's just got and is selling out, breaking records with viewership. But the thing, so people are mad because Asia Wilson is an incredible player.
You've already named one more person I don't know. Well, go ahead.
Asia Wilson is like the Shaq of WNBA.
Okay.
Like she's good. She's good.
Brand
She's
new
a
news.
Dominant player. She would be what if I don't know. She's great. She is. It's her league, if you will. However, if I wanted to watch good basketball, I would go watch the NBA.
Based on skill sets.
That's just the way it is.
Yeah.
I don't. If I was there to watch good basketball, then I would watch the NBA or I would watch college. Whatever. I would watch a different sport than that. So
you could go watch varsity high school basketball and see better basketball.
So the unfortunate reality is that Caitlyn Clark is the face of WNBA, regardless if she's not because I don't think she's the best player. I think Asia Wilson is the best player in the league, but that doesn't matter because I'm not there to watch your skills. Not necessarily.
Okay, but what if?
But what am I there to watch for? Go ahead.
Well, what if Jordan was the best at what he did and Shaq was the best at what he did? They're not the same. You're comparing a guard to a post player. You know what I'm saying?
Sure, yeah.
So what if they were both the best players in the game because you had a guard, she's the best guard in the game, and she's the best,
I'm not fully convinced that she's the best guard, but
really,
she's just young. I think she has more to learn, and I think she will be.
To your point, Michael Jordan wasn't the best player in the league his rookie year or second year. You still had Magic and Bird and Dominique. There's still a lot of good players in the league. Now, didn't take them long. And he was.
And she had a turnover. She had 10 turnovers.
Yeah, she's turnover prone.
Game. Like she has a problem with that. And I don't think she's. So I think she's. Any way you look at it, she's the face of it. And I think that.
Why do you think that is?
I don't know. I don't know why. I don't know if it's because she's just fun. Maybe she's fun. Maybe she's the gladiator out there who's not just killing people. She's going out there and she's putting on a show. Like it's fun to watch. You do this. It's not what you do. It's how you did it. And she's raining threes from 30 feet and drilling them.
And that's what I think it is.
And she's getting into it without being. What you think that's?
Go ahead, finish your statement.
Well, she's getting into it without being obnoxious. Like she's fun to watch.
Mm-hmm.
She talks trash. Everybody talks trash.
Mm-hmm.
She doesn't get overboard. She's not dirty necessarily.
Mm-hmm.
She's just fun to watch, and that's what I'm thinking. Like you can watch her and that's what the example I use is the gladiator. You can go out there as a gladiator and kill folks and you win. Good job. But did you put on a show? You didn't put on a show.
Well, and that's all that professional sports is about anyway.
And that's what I mean. And
Put
she
the
goes
butts
out
in the
there-
seat, sell the ticket. I don't
She
care
goes
what
out
else you
there
do.
and people want to watch her do it, and it's fun to watch.
The ire that's aimed at her is what's interesting to me too, because I just saw a clip maybe 2 days ago where this girl, Caitlyn Clark's on like the outside of where somebody they're shooting free throws, and Caitlyn Clark's outside, and this girl that shoots the free throw, she shoots a free throw, hits it, and runs and gets right in Caitlyn Clark's face, like behind her. She runs behind her, runs, gets right in her face. She's standing there. Caitlyn just kind of like turns her head and kind of does like this, like there's something over there. Like you couldn't tell what she was doing, but it was almost looked like she was going, "Get out of my face." And the girl goes back and then shoots another free throw. And then
This is a mid free throw.
in the post game or whatever, they go, what do you think she said to you? Tell us about that interaction you had with so and so, to Caitlyn Clark. And Caitlyn goes, she thought it was only one free throw, so she started guarding me. And I just told her, go back and shoot your free throw. And that was it. That was the end of the transaction.
Yeah.
But the media wanted a story.
Yeah.
Like they wanted a fight. What did she say to you? What happened? And she goes, she just thought there was only one free throw. She didn't realize it was two free throws. So I just said, go back to your free throw. She went, oh, okay. And she laughed and we were good. Like nothing, It's just everybody's wanting something to happen, And of course, you got the couple of interactions that she's had with Angel Reese that have been not so pleasant. But I honestly think there is a theory. There's a psychological theory about that has to do with storytelling. And I forget what it's called. And I just saw a movie recently where, what did I see? Den of Thieves 2 that played this out, where a hero isn't a hero unless he has a villain. It just doesn't exist. You can't be a hero unless you have a villain. And this psychological storytelling plays out where you've got to have this yin and this yang. So spoiler alert for Den of Thieves 2, if you hadn't seen it, earmuffs. But at the end, what's his name? Gerard Butler, who plays in Den of Thieves 2. He lets. I just realized I just about to spoil it for y'all too.
I'm not gonna watch it.
He lets he gets the guy that's his nemesis. He goes and gets him out of prison, so he can be free, so that they can try to cat and mouse each other. Like that was like. And that's not the first time I've seen that happen in stories. Storytelling is where a guy gets caught and then the hero goes and lets him out so that they can keep playing cat and mouse. You're not a hero unless you have a villain. You can't just be a hero to nothing. It's a psychological storytelling piece that I don't understand it fully, but I know it's there and I've heard people talk about it. It's very interesting. By the way, the connection there was Angel Reese, Caitlyn Clark.
Well, with that point, I think they really messed up. They had the opportunity to have a Larry Bird, Magic Johnson connection. Right. You have Angel Reese, very attractive. She's not a world's worst player. I think she gets a bad rap in some areas. Now, she gets a lot of rebounds because a lot of them are her own misses. But she still gets the rebounds, right? She still has like the fastest double-doubles, whatever. You could take these two girls and make them the face of WNBA, and it would work. And you could sell tickets, and you could market them, not as villain and hero, because Magic Johnson and Larry Bird weren't villains or heroes. They were just two players that represented their cities the way they played, and it worked, right? And they to me, I think we were talking the other day, I feel like Magic and Bird saved the NBA. Jordan made it what it is today. Yeah. Like they set this thing up to go, oh, this actually is a good sport, and then Michael ran with it.
Yep.
And
I could get that.
Yeah, and so they had an opportunity for something like that. It wouldn't be the exact same because Angel doesn't play like Magic Johnson.
Well,
you don't play like Bird.
Your point's well taken. The reason I'm thinking villain only is because, and it's not a shot at Angel Reese, except that Angel Reese is showing a lot more like disgust and anger and like sort of fight and grit. She's almost looking like the Detroit Pistons of the time. She's like the bad boy. She's like the bad girl. She's playing that role. I don't know if she wants to play the role, but she's playing the role.
I don't think she is. I don't think she thinks she is.
Yeah, and it's partly maybe she's just got this attitude, and maybe she's got like a chip on her shoulder because she's tired of living in Caitlyn Clark's shadow, knowing that she's got her own skills. Yeah. Maybe that's it, but that's the whole thing. Like it's a yin and a yang. It's a magic and you're right. It's that pull. I think the only reason I thought villain was just because she's got a lot of fight. She's chewing people out. She's getting in their face. She's pushing people. Like she's
she definitely talks more than Caitlyn does. Now, Caitlyn, what's funny is Caitlyn did all that in college, right? So that's kind of what got their attention, right? She did the whole "you can't see me." She did the, and that was how Rangel got popular. She did it back to her, chasing her down. So Caitlyn was a trash talker in college. She really hasn't done it a whole lot now. Partly probably to your point, she doesn't feel as dominant right now because she's got her weakness in her game that's kind of been exploited a little bit. But I just think, man, they had a cash cow here. They had a marketing opportunity, and instead in my sense, they blew it.
But they still do on some level. Like Caitlyn is still she's still selling out arenas, and she's still breaking. I don't know if she's breaking records, but she's got a good viewership. And I think they have to find a way to market that in itself.
Sure.
And lift it and stop trying to suppress it. And there's a lot of NBA players that are going, and this is a theory, of course, but there's a lot of NBA players like LeBron who are going, y'all need to run with this. I don't know why you guys are trying to, bag on this girl, but she's great. She's what the WNBA needs. And I want to know if it's like the NBA is funding the WNBA. Maybe if the WNBA made their own money, the NBA players would make more money. I don't know. That's a theory.
But it's impossible for the WNBA to make more money because nobody wants to buy the product.
But they are with Caitlyn. I think that's the point. Like,
kind of.
They're
it
selling
is
out
growing,
arenas.
but it's growing to the level where they're beating attendance to high school varsity.
It's
games.
a star.
Agreed, but they weren't last week, right? Or
I mean, yeah.
It's on the way up, and she's a big part of it. Now, Angel could be a big part of it if they would market her the right way too.
True,
that's what I'm saying. Like you could market these ladies,
Yeah.
market the show. Because like you're saying,
exactly.
It's not going to be. They showed this great highlight of Angel Reese taking 2-step and layup. Like, I could do still at 46 right now, right? And I'm old, can't jump, and my layup would look just like hers, right? So it's not the skill set in that regards, right?
I would pay the pay-per-view price to watch Clay Travis play Angel Reese one-on-one. What has he offered her? $100K?
Really, one-on-one?
Yeah, he's offered her like $100,000 to play him one-on-one on pay-per-view.
I genuinely think Angel Reese wins.
Oh no, yeah. I think Clay Travis kills her.
I think Angel Reese wins.
I mean, she wins if she can just push him around and they can just beat each other up.
Sure, I think she'll just body him.
But even if she tries to, he's probably got a decent little shot.
Yeah,
I bet he outshoots her 3-1. Like,
I put money on this.
He's also offered money to the women's national soccer team to play a 15 and under boys team, one club, not even an all-star club.
Had they done it, lost big time.
Right. He offered I think it's another some kind of crazy amount of money. Like, I will pay you this much money if you just go do it.
Let's transition to that. So it was a book I read back I think it was written in the mid 2000s or so, early to mid. The name of the book is Andy Roddick Beat Me with a Frying Pan. It's a great book. I highly recommend it. I found it on Amazon for like $3.
That's a great title.
And the title references where this sports writer wanted to go and illuminate the difference between a professional athlete and Joe Schmo, you and I, right? Guys that are athletes, but definitely show how big the gap is. So he played Andy Roddick in tennis. He had a state-of-the-art, top of the line tennis racket, and Andy Roddick had a frying pan. Andy Roddick beat him handily, wasn't even hard, he didn't break a sweat with a frying pan. And obviously, and this guy wasn't. I mean, he like I said, he's a average Joe, right? He could play tennis. He probably would beat us, but he clearly was not on any kind of level that Andy Roddick was. Anyways, fun book, great book. Each chapter is its own, book, if you will, right? It's all these different chapters of different sports. It covers things like how long would Mike Tyson fight street fighters? Why don't you get a 400 or 600 pound person to cover the goal in hockey? Because they can just cover the whole entire goal. Like, they cover all kind of wild stuff, right? They take a professional bowler and put him in skee ball. How does he do? One of the chapters is comparing female athletes and male athletes. Now we're talking about professional level, right? And he looked at the charts. Now the numbers I'm sure have changed by now, and I could probably take the time to look it up. But at the time, the Jackie Joyner Kersee, if I say her name right,
Jackie Joyner
Kersee, considered fastest woman alive. She broke, she has all the world records at the time in track and field. And her speed, her world records were slightly faster than the records for the 14-year-old boys and slightly slower than the record of the 15-year-old boys in the world. So the fastest woman alive was the equivalent of a 14-and-a-half-year-old boy. And this is data, right? I'm not like anything. And so the whole point of the chapter is that men and women are different. Now, this is obviously way before this whole let's let men play women's sports and dominate. Yeah. So it just showed by sheer numbers of speed.
Wasn't that the same? Didn't they also cover in that where her number was like the same number as like the 7,000th male speed?
Yeah,
in the world. Yeah. If you took the fastest men in the world, she was ranked somewhere in the 7,000. Yeah, something like that. Yeah. Some crazy low number. I don't know the number, but
so it's just the gap between. Now, mind you, if you and I raced her, she'd kill us. Probably still, right? And she's older than us, right? So this is not every man is better than every woman. But when you compare an apple to an apple, and Serena Williams even said when she was on, I think David Letterman, he asked her, would she play in the right? She says, no way. That's a different sport. Men's tennis is a different sport. And her and her sister played a beer drinking, smoking German for charity. Each played a set against them. And he beat both of them handedly. And I think it was Venus. I can't remember. One of them said, and she's quoted in that book, she said, I knew I was in trouble when I did my serve as an ace every single time. When I hit this serve and it was perfect, she did everything perfect, hit the angle she wanted to, hit the speed she wanted to, and she looks up, and that beer drinking, smoking, 302 world, ranked in the world or whatever he was at the time, was waiting for the ball. He'd gotten in place and was waiting before it got to him, and she said that's when she knew she was in trouble. Because when she hit her best serve and the guy not only could get to it, but was waiting for it to hit it back, that's when she was in trouble. And so, and of course, again, these women would kill us at tennis without even breaking a sweat, right? So I'm not diminishing her skill set. It's just the gap between men and women is huge. And so I think Clay Travis would beat Randy Ortiz. Even though he's an average Joe, I think he would take her.
I do too.
But I'd love to see it.
I would pay whatever the pay-per-view price. They're charging $50 for pay-per-view, $100 I'd pay it.
Now, here's the most fascinating of that book, and this will maybe start a conversation. Now, everything we're talking about is muscle, speed, reaction, and I think most sane people, and I say sane, would recognize men have those advantages. Muscle tone, all that, reaction. One thing he pointed out is the world dart rankings are mixed. There's no men's and women's. It's all just, if you're top, you're in the rankings, right? The best woman darts player at that time was in the 200s. What is it about this that makes men far superior than women? And he didn't have an answer. He literally was like, I don't know what to tell you. So that one I thought was fascinating.
That is fascinating. And it doesn't
line up with anything.
That make a lot of sense. But then again, you do have things like you do have studies that show hand-eye coordination. You have studies that show reaction times. You have studies that just show a lot of those types of things. But look, from an evolutionary biology type standpoint, it makes a lot of sense because men were designed to go get things. You got to see what you're going to get. You got to be stronger and faster than what you're trying to go get, and then you got to go get it, kill it, take it home, cook it, or give it to your wife to cook. Actually, from an evolutionary standpoint, that was what you were designed to go do. So it makes sense that you're faster, stronger, have better reaction times, have more hand-eye coordination. Like all that makes sense from a biological standpoint. It isn't there. Here's the problem. I'm seeing this a lot on Substack. You got these people that are fighting about these issues, and it's like it's not a zero-sum game. This isn't saying that if we say this is great, it means you're not great. That's not what's happening.
Yes.
And that's the only real fight is the people afraid of the zero-sum game. And so, for instance, when I read this article recently, and I've kind of written my own pieces on it a little bit about stats that are like, for instance, if you took a car and you drove a car and hit a man, did I say this last week? And you drove a car and you hit a woman, you're going to get a sentence. Okay, you're going to get sentenced for a crime. Okay, and they die. Okay, so you got possibilities of manslaughter, vehicular homicide. You got all these possibilities. Whatever the sentence ends up being, you get a 37% lower sentence if you kill a man. Okay, this is the fairly recent study that showed this. If you commit a homicide in general, you get a 56% lower sentence if you kill a man in a homicide than if you kill a woman or a child. And maybe the child I get, but I don't know, man or woman, why? Okay, there's a lot of reasons for that. But here's what we're saying. So when people were pointing out these stats, they're like, by the way, look at this. By the way, look, health funding in America, okay, health research funding in America. Of the total health research budget, 20% of that budget goes to sex-specific research. Okay? The other 80 obviously is just overlapping health stuff that everybody has. We all have blood. We all have tissue. Of that 20% sex-specific, 15% of that goes to women. Only 5% of the world health, the United States health federal budget of research goes to men's-specific issues. 5%. But men live on average 6 years less than women. Men are more likely to die on the job. Men are more likely to get cancer, diabetes, stroke, heart disease. Much more likely to get all four of the big deadly ones. These are common stats. Male suicide is 4 times higher than females. Male suicide, actually in 2022, there were roughly 42,000 deaths to breast cancer in 2022 in America. In 2022, there were 49,000 deaths to male suicide. 7,000 more men died than women of breast cancer from suicide. And we don't hear a thing about male suicide, but we got plenty of awareness about breast cancer. That's the issue that you're having. What you're having is you have people go, wait a minute, look at this. This is clearly an issue. And then they go, well, wait. If you do that, you'll take away from the breast cancer. No. That's not what we want. One guy made a good point. He said, we don't want the spotlight moved from one position to another. We want the spotlight backed up so it's broader.
Yeah. And that's the
right
goal.
That's Absolutely. All we want.
Absolutely.
We want you to keep getting your breast cancer awareness and make it aware that there are men dying every day from suicide at 4 times the rate of females. That's all we want. Just broaden this thing. Prostate cancer is another one. Prostate cancer gets a huge percentage of more cases per year, significantly, not even the same ballpark as new cases of breast cancer. And the funding's lopsided. And funding research and awareness, lopsided. So, and again, I'm not mad about it. I'm not. It's just that you can do these things without making it zero-sum game and making it feel like we're trying to take away. Nobody's trying to take away anything from anything that women need, deserve, and want. We want that. We love it, and we want it. We just want to broaden and go, by the way, there's this other issue too. We should be able to talk about without being called a misogynist. I should be able to say that males are dying 4 times as fast as females by suicide. That should not be an issue.
And that's a statistical truth.
100% statistical truth. Yeah. I've got all kinds of research stats. If we want to cite sources, I'll fly them to you.
That's just social. That's social. That's society in general. I don't know his name, but there was a comedian I just saw today. He said one of the things that sucks about being a man is that we have to pay for everything, and then we cannot complain about it at all. So we have to basically. He said that's a great one, feminist.
Yeah.
Great move.
Good move.
Pay for all my stuff and shut up about it. I forget his name. I wish I knew his name. He's hilarious.
That's good.
But that's pretty much. But that's what it is. How often do you go through the day when you know? Sometimes you have a day where you're like, man, I'd rather be done with it. You know, I'd rather be done with it. But you don't talk about it. You go through even just physically. You know, your shoulder's been hurting all day. Your knee hurts. Your back's giving out. You still mow the grass. You don't complain about it.
Think about it.
You still work 60 hours a week.
What would you do if you did have a chance to talk about it? Where would you go?
And I guess that's part of the point. Yeah.
All right, let's start there.
Yeah.
Well, okay, then somebody says, well, go to a therapist. Now what are you going to do? You're going to go into a therapist's office. You're going to sit across from him, which is what women do. Women go face to face and they talk to each other to relate through their issues, their grief, their sadness, their anxiety, their frustration, their anger. They deal with it like this, face to face. Men deal with those issues side by side. Men go like this. Man, that was frustrating the other day. That's what men do. Men are on a putting green going, dude, you're not going to believe what happened to me the other day. Men are out there throwing axes. And men are like, you see what I'm saying? Men are doing things side by side to process through emotion. So it's like, where are you going to go? You can't go anywhere you go. You get thrown into a feminine setting as a man.
Right.
So there's not a lot of that out there.
Well, to your point.
Going to make that change, but go ahead.
Well, to your point, as a firefighter, we as much stuff as we've seen, as much as I've seen in the last 19 years, there would be times where we would just randomly be sitting, all of us be sitting in like in a circle, like just. We had a 9 o'clock call. We get back at 10 o'clock, and we're just hanging out. And all of a sudden, we start telling stories. This guy tells his story that when he found a dead body, and this guy tells his story when he had to do this, and this guy tells his story. So then you start, makes you feel a little better. It makes you be like, okay, we're all in this together. Like, I'm not alone. You're not alone. You've seen the stuff that I've seen, just in a different room.
Right.
And so that
here's my theory on that. Men. By the way, we all know that we're the worst at that, but men, women are so much better at this than we are. But my theory is this. One, I don't think every man needs therapy. I don't even think that's close to being accurate.
I don't think most of them do.
I agree with that. I don't think most men need therapy. I do think there are some that do.
Sure.
But I don't think most men need therapy. I do believe, however, that most men, all men, need conversation. It doesn't need to be therapy. It doesn't even need to be counseling, but it does need to be conversation. I think that men need to get things out of their mouth for one particular reason. And I tell this story all the time about when I was songwriting, but I was writing a song one time with a guy, and we were stuck on a line, and I thought of it, and I went, oh, I got this. And I spit out this line, and as soon as I spit it out, I was like, yeah, that kind of sucked. And I got looks from both of the writers in the room that looked at me and went, dude, that was terrible. And I was like, I know. It sounded great in my head. And by the time it came out, it was a crappy line. And here's the thing. The opposite's equally as true. I'm sitting there one time and we're writing a song, different writers, and I think of a line that sounds hilarious and stupid to me, and I chuckle. And we're stuck, so we're all just quiet. My co-writers go, "What'd you chuckle for?" I'm like, "It was a chuckle. Leave me alone." Like, no. What'd you think? I was like, "It was a stupid line. I'm not singing it." Like, no, we want to hear it. They finally pull it out of me. Okay, I'll say it. And I said the line, and these songwriters, both of them looked at me and went, "We're writing the entire song around that line. It's one of the best lines I've ever heard." I thought it was stupid. Here's the lesson. The lesson is when there's an idea in your head, you don't know how good or bad the idea really is until you get it out of your mouth and calibrate it off of somebody. Period. I thought it'd be a great idea to get up on a roof with a sheet and try to fly off like Superman. Hey, man, that's a terrible idea. Really? I didn't, you know what I mean? Like, that's an exaggerated form. But, like, until you got it out of your head or from your head and out of your mouth, you don't really know if it's a good idea or not. That's just conversation. That doesn't have to be feminine. That doesn't have to be therapy. It doesn't even have to be counseling. But it needs to be, hey, bro, here's what I'm thinking about doing. What do you think? We do that in business all the time. We sit at conference tables, right? Conference room tables, and we hash out ideas. That's really all that kind of amounts to. But as men, we're just terrible about that when it comes to, man, me and my wife fought the other night, and it was bad, and I'm not real sure we're going to recover.
I've never said those words.
Yeah, me neither.
Except for maybe like when I got divorced, and it was like, yeah, by the way.
None of us have. We have great wives and awesome wives, and we never fight, and they're always right.
Jen is amazing. I'll say that for sure. But yeah, I mean, we can all say that.
Yeah, we all three could just go on about that one, but we won't because we don't need to inflate their little egos.
No. Hey, you know what?
Listen to me, woman.
Get back in the kitchen.
Do you remember when Jesus said that? Remember when Jesus said that? She was coming to him. She said, "Hey, they're out of wine." He goes, "Woman, you go read it." First word of that is out of his mouth. "Woman, why do you bother me with this?"
Mary said, "Look, Jesus, I want the party to keep going."
For those that don't know, I've been married the longest. You notice I ain't said a word. Just wanted to put that out there.
Hey, we're talking about how great our wives are. You might better speak up.
Yeah, you want to say something?
Y'all going, yeah, woman, shut up and go to the kitchen and make me a sandwich.
Oh, no.
That's what Jesus said. Jesus said
that was Christo, buddy. That wasn't me.
Yeah, I made the joke you were talking earlier about Men can't say stuff. I told my wife one time, I said, yep, sometimes my wife makes me mad, but I can't tell her because if I do, then she'll get mad at me for being mad.
Yep, exactly. Yep.
So I'll just shut up.
Yep.
I did tell you I was going to ask you about, what was it, carbs?
Yeah.
Give me a little spiel. You don't have to be long.
I don't know how not to be long.
I love it.
This probably is my pro tip.
Yeah, okay. By the way, this segment is called Just the Tips. And so we're just going to give pro tips. And this is our first one. Go for it. I love it. And I did want to hear about carbs.
You didn't want to get too penetrating into this conversation, huh?
Now, we don't have to penetrate too far. Just a little bit. Just a tip. What do you got, Johnson?
First thing I want to say is that carbs are not the devil.
Are you sure?
Everybody thinks that carbs are, you eat carbs because you see all these ketos and Atkins, but it's like, and also carnivore is the big one now, I guess, bigger than keto now.
It's a lot, yeah, a lot of people.
It's all, hey, just stop eating carbs. And I've heard people on a podcast, doctors like you were talking earlier, off this podcast, but they were talking about how all carbs are bad for you. There's no nutritional value, including vegetables, which is just wild. That's a wild claim. Vegetables have lots of nutrients and minerals that you need for your body, lots of vitamins galore, and magnesium and riboflavin and all kinds of things that you need. But on top of that, the problem with here's the thing with carbs is when you go off, is when you are eating a diet, whatever you want, you're eating pizza, you're eating crayons or whatever you're eating. What you're doing is,
did you eat paint chips as a kid?
So what happens is, for every gram of carb, your body requires like 3 to 4 grams of water to store it. So you're storing the water with it. So for instance, like a medium potato has about 35 to 40 grams of carbs in it. So it's going to store about 4 to 5 ounces of water. So that's a quarter of a pound. That's just one potato. That's if you just then that's for dinner. For lunch you have a sweet potato if you're eating healthy.
Yeah. And how does that play to weight? What you just said?
It's weight. 4 or 5 ounces. 4 ounces is a quarter of a pound. So if
so the water weight. Yeah,
water, 4 or 5 ounces of water is stored with that carb. So you have all this water weight with these carbs. It's stored as glycogen. I won't get into all that, but the point is, when you go on a carb-free diet, you lose 10 pounds in the first week, and you go, man, it works. But you didn't lose any fat. You may have lost some fat, but you didn't lose fat, and that's the goal, is to lose fat. Fat is what keeps us from getting from obesity, which heart disease,
all of it, cancer,
heart disease,
cancerous cells are in
diabetes,
fat.
And Alzheimer's is another, it can lead to that. Or dementia in general. But so what happens is you lose that 10 pounds or 5 to 10 pounds, and then you're like, man, this works. So then you stick with it, and maybe you lose another 10 pounds because you are in a calorie deficit, because you stopped eating. You took out a portion, your macro, if you will. Mm-hmm. So then you lost 20 pounds, and then you're like, man, this works. And then you stop losing weight. You had 20 pounds, and your goal was 50 or 60. And you're going, well, what's going on? I hate this. I can't lose any more weight. I'm doing what I'm supposed to be doing. Well, you know what? Screw this. I'm going to go back to eating the way I want to eat. If I'm not going to lose any weight, then I might as well eat what I want. And that's the biggest problem in diet and nutrition right now is sustainability. Is what they'll do is they'll start here, they'll start here, and then they'll get great, and then they'll plateau, and then they'll go this way, even further than
further off, right?
Because they're just so like, why would I even do it if it's not going to work?
Right.
And a lot of that is people are getting false numbers on the scale with carbs. And with carbs and protein is, I still want to, but I also want to, while we're here, I want to drive home protein is get your protein. After that, it's just whatever feels good for you. Less fat, less carbs, more carbs. There are a lot of studies that actually show that a higher carb, higher protein is actually you'll have a healthier lifestyle and lose more fat than if you were to have high protein, high fat.
Right.
Oddly enough.
If I'm not mistaken, one of the reasons that you're not really losing more weight once you lose that water weight, which you didn't lose fat, is because isn't that where the ketosis part comes into play? So when your body is burned everything it's supposed to burn, then it starts burning fat, so it burns everything else. It burns all the carbs, it loses the water weight. You lose everything, and it's like the fat's the last to go. Isn't that how that works?
No, it's really just calorie in, calorie out. So what
gets rid of the fat then? Like, how does that?
You know how you burn fat?
How do you burn fat?
You breathe in.
You breathe?
True story. You breathe. True story.
Okay.
So what happens is basically burning fat is just calorie in, calorie out. What you do is when you eat, you ingest carbons, a carbon chain of food.
Okay.
And then you have this set of carbons, and then when you breathe in oxygen. When your oxygen attaches to that carbon, and when you breathe out, you're breathing out the fat. Basically, you're breathing out the carbons from the food. So that's actually how you lose fat. So,
well, if that's the case, I mean, shoot.
That's why you start thinking about it. You're like, okay, so when you go for a run, we're talking about cardio. You go for a run, you're breathing hard. You're burning some calories because you're breathing a little hard. And there's a lot of different things that go into calorie burning, but that's part of it. Is just
breathing out the carbons.
When you're breathing out, that's how you burn your fat.
I remember hearing somebody say something about how it was like, and maybe it was just belly fat, but it was like there was like a piece of everything else gets burned off, and then certain parts of your fat then start burning off once it's utilized everything else. Like if it's maybe, and it may even be ATP we're talking about. I don't even know.
Well, you're probably thinking like glycogen and all that.
It might
your
be.
body does use glycogen through your workout. That's why you eat carbs, is to store that for energy for working out. But burning fat is just calorie in, calorie out. It's if you burn on a daily, like I'm sure now you're probably at like 2,000 resting. You're probably like 24. I'm probably
I don't
like
eat a lot of calories.
Huh?
I don't eat nearly the calories I'm supposed to be eating.
Well, I mean, my point is like whatever your calorie is, it's just calorie in, calorie out, and that's on whoever. That you have age. There's so many things that go with that.
Well, sure, yeah.
Age, weight,
yeah.
Activity level, but also sleep, hydration level.
Sure, yep.
Those things go into
huge.
Effect.
So back to carbs. So carbs, your carb intake is just, you're going to keep bringing it back to calorie numbers, just calorie in, calorie out.
Yes.
So that you don't view carb as the devil.
Right. So what I like to do, a good rule of thumb is whatever weight you want to be.
Yes.
Eat that in grams of protein.
Right.
At minimum, really. That's not, you're not going to see that in a 1965 published that you see in schools nowadays and what you see on the food pyramid and all that.
Yeah.
That's thousands of studies have come out since all that.
Right.
But what you eat, a gram. So for instance, I'm thinking low 200s. So I eat at least 200 grams of protein a day. After that, if you want to eat some carbs, if you have the calories to do it, you want to eat some carbs, you want to eat some fat, whatever the case may be. And that's kind of a feeling right there.
Jennifer brought that up the other night because I don't take in enough protein, and like I just don't. But I don't take in enough of everything. I'm low. I can't eat a whole lot right now for whatever reason. I can eat half of whatever it is I sit down to eat, and then I'm done. I got to get a box. I got to whatever, and then I eat maybe one time a day. Like eat. I consume 2-3 protein bars and maybe a protein shake. So I'll take in 100 grams of protein just in like bars and shakes.
And that's part of it,
For me.
Well, I know Adam, he does a lot of Built bars. Me too. We do Built bars, and that's 15 grams of protein approximately. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and then I'll sometimes my lunch at work is a little chicken pouch that you get from Costco. It's got 24 grams of protein, and a protein shake. It's got 30. That's 54 grams of protein.
Dang.
That's 54 grams of protein and about 300 calories.
That's jamming.
I mean, that's my lunch. And then you'll be hungry a little bit, but
yep,
you'll be all right.
All right, you good?
Yeah, I mean that's.
You got a pro tip over there to leave us with?
The best way to lose weight is to be in a calorie deficit. That is the first law of thermodynamics.
Thermodynamics.
And we can break into that next time because I'm sure John would love to explain the law of thermodynamics.
Ooh.
The first law and the second law and the zeroth law.
But it is important to eat. get your muscle, get your protein, retain your muscle, because that also burns fat. That burns calories.
I'll tell you what's helped me, ironically. Obviously, being in calorie deficit, right? Drinking less alcohol. Alcohol. I love bourbon, by the way, but alcohol. There's no good of alcohol. There's not. You're about to say something.
Well, I thought you were going to say it. Like,
sure. I just read that recently. I did learn this, and I kind of knew this, but alcohol shrinks your brain. That it actually shrinks your brain. Alcohol. Now, probably
must be why I'm so dumb.
A certain amount of consumption. Obviously, a sip of alcohol is not going to do. But anyway,
yeah, a lot of that's on binge, though. Am I wrong? Like, I see a lot of
it's large quantities.
Alcohol,
yes.
Then when you look into it, you're like, oh, that's binge drinking.
Yeah, yes. It's large quantities, short amounts of time. Sure. You could call it binge. You could also just call it people that drink every single day. You could call it people that drink too much every single day. Like, you got all kinds of ranges.
What I was going to say is, I thought you were going to say it, but with alcohol, it's poison basically. It's, and what it does is your body stops burning calories until it gets rid of them. So if you drink 300 calories of alcohol, your body stops whatever it did, gets rid of that, takes 300 calories of energy, because calories are energy, takes 300 calories, of energy to burn that off, and then it comes back to burning your fat. So, which I guess it is what it is. I mean, it's, when you think about it, that's like, okay, you ingested 300 calories, and you're going to burn 300 calories. Like,
but once it's done, it won't touch the fat. It won't touch the, it won't do all the other things it's supposed to do, which is why you would see these men that are very normal frame, but a big old gut.
Well, it's just, I just told my wife the other day that I'm still trying to get down a little bit more, so I decided just to lay off of alcohol for a while. Might still have one on the weekend, maybe, like one.
Moderation's everything.
But my standard is probably 2 times a week I drink about 2 beers. So I'm still only drinking like 4 a week during the week. Now on the weekend I might drink another 3. So that's my typical intake. But the kind of shape I want to be in, like I'm in decent shape right now, but the kind of shape I want to be in June, which is where we are now, I've got to go down a little bit further, and I'm not going to do that drinking that number of beers. I don't think. I think I need to cut it down to just the 1 or 2 in the weekend, at least right now, because I'm going into my camp season, which is for those who don't know, I'm an NCAA college basketball referee, and I've got trainings I have to do during the summer, and I got to be in certain shape, or I just walk in and lose schedules, lose games, walking in during June, not looking in shape. I'm in good enough shape, but I like to be in better shape before I go, and that's gonna be one of the things I do. Was that your pro tip? Or
what I was gonna say is, what I was getting at is, I did certain changes, but I never stopped eating a certain food group. Never stopped carbs. I didn't stop sugar. I didn't, I don't think my thing I love is skinny dip Reese's cups that I eat them. The 2 grams of sugar. But they cure my sweet tooth, right? I get a desire, want something sugary. I have that, and I'm good. Don't cut out everything, because if you do, right, you're gonna I'm not gonna eat sugar at all, and that'll last about 3 or 4 days, and then you're like, I really want sugar, and then next thing you know, you get 12 of those peanut butter cups. And
those sugar-free Reese's cups are banging.
They're great.
I've had them; they're amazing.
But you have to be in a calorie deficit to lose weight. You have to do these, make some changes. I lost 40 pounds. I joked that 35 of them were alcohol alone. But at the same point, sometimes I catch myself losing weight when I increase my calorie intake. Because if you go too low, you're going to slow down your metabolism. Your body's not going to be able to burn like it needs to. It's going to start storing, holding on. And so I think shaking it up. And I'm not saying, have 2,000 calories and then 1 week I'm going to have 7. But, going 2,800 for that week and then going back down to 2,000 or whatever, mixing it up a little bit is not bad for your body at all. Right. I think changing it up. Sometimes I think we overthink it. I mean, we're really getting in the deep when we talk about thermodynamics. But at the end of the day, find what works for you. Find what works for you consistently. And then don't be afraid to have that burger. Don't be afraid to have that piece of candy. Just keep it in moderation. Go back to the water intake. Flush out the alcohol. Do those things. And you'll see. Not only will it work, now it won't work as fast as you want, but that's what you want, because that's more sustainable. Is if you, instead of losing 20 pounds in 2 weeks, it's taken me a couple of years to lose the 40 pounds, but it's come off in a way that it, like I said, I can go a couple of weeks and I don't see fluctuation.
Yeah, I was gonna say, when you did it at the rate that you did it in, it's unlikely to return. It's when you lose fast is when you gain it back fast.
And I think that's because you're doing a shock diet, like you're talking about. You're trying to do all these things. Whereas when it's doing the slow, it's more because of it's a lifestyle change.
I was about to say it all. Yeah, it becomes a habit. 3 weeks becomes a habit kind of thing. It's habitual.
And so I've changed my lifestyle.
Right, absolutely. Yeah. Yep. Well, I had a pro tip idea in mind, and while we were talking, I just thought of a different one that was, I think, significantly better. This is for people. There's a thing called paradoxical intention in therapy. And paradoxical intention basically is, and this works, so far I've read where it worked with insomnia, and it works with speech impediments like stutter. And what it is it's if you're, for somebody who struggles with insomnia and you said, I just can't sleep at night or whatever. Two things. The first thing is try to find yourself waking up at the same time every day. That puts your body into a circadian rhythm. That releases all the feel-good chemicals you've been needing. That's probably been held back because you don't wake up at the same time every day. Has nothing to do with time you go to bed, but it does have everything to do with what time you wake up. That sends your body into a circadian rhythm, and it's been holding chemicals back because it isn't sure what in the world's going on. And once you give it a little routine, it goes, oh, okay, and it starts releasing all the feel-good stuff you need. That's one thing. But the other thing, for insomnia, that helps with insomnia because once your body begins to find that rhythm, it'll find the sleeping rhythm also, although it's not important exactly what time you go to bed. But if you're struggling with insomnia, the paradoxical intention is try your best to stay awake. You saw it coming.
It's a paradox.
Paradoxical intention. It's a therapy though. They're using it. When I read these studies, I was like, wait a minute, they're really doing this, and it's really working. Yes, it's working. Try your best to stay awake.
I can see it also disarming it, right? Like you're fearful or something, or you can't. You think this can't ever happen, so go the other direction. Yeah, no, I can totally see that.
Works with stuttering. Try your best. This happened. They said they did this on multiple patients. It was like, I think the last study I read was over 200 patients. Try your best to stutter right now. And then they're just like, well, I can't. And they talk with no stutter. The moment they try to stutter. It's paradoxical intention. It works. And I don't know what all, I'm sure there's probably more out there. Those are the only two studies that I've seen that I thought that was very interesting. That it's just the way you're, and I think it might be the attacking the fear. It might be.
I'm trying real hard to be dumb.
Yes, I'm so stupid.
Yeah.
You mean? Hey, you talking about? What are you talking about, man?
Man, I can stop being stupid.
Don't you be talking about that to me, man?
Kitty's looking at.
Look, we could be imitating somebody and nobody will know. Nobody will know. I ain't stupid. Just because I go out with my sister don't mean nothing. I'm from Alabama. I can do that. Hey. All right. Well, I think that wraps it up. Thank you guys jumping in. Hey, if y'all want to hear something specific, we haven't shared a story.
I got one.
You got one? Go.
All right. For reference, our dad is 6'3", and growing up, he was every bit of 260. I would say that's probably about right.
Fair.
He ended up getting diabetes and losing a bunch of weight. He got down to like 210, I think. This is probably, I don't know. He hovers around 220, 230, I guess now. But growing up, he was 240. Or 260. He was big man. He was strong.
He's a horse.
He was very strong. Nobody ever, you didn't want to mess a Big Day Larry.
This is a great story. I just realized where you're going.
So we were, we weren't. None of us were really dumb enough to mess with him. I guess did y'all take a story last week about me?
Yes.
Okay, so maybe when you're like 1 or 2, you were.
You were the one dumb enough to face him
at a young age, but not 17.
Correct. Correct.
Adam was lifting weights and exercising. He had a class. Is that right? You had a class in McGavick where you were lifting weights and you were in good shape. Mm-hmm. And so he decided he was going to try it. He wasn't wanting to fight Dad. Like he was trying to wrestle Dad. He wants to fight him. He wants to mess with him. And Dad always kind of like whatever, So me and my brother Nate, nice. We were in the living room with my mom, and we see Adam walking down the hallway like he's messing with Dad, and all of a sudden they disappear. And we're like, okay, Adam's just messing with Dad. Cool. I'm going to get back to watching my TV show. And all of a sudden, here comes Adam full on barrel rolling through the living room and lands in the chair on the other side of the living room. And I'm telling you, this living room is a decent size. It's a big living room. Huge living room. Adam's barrel rolling. I mean, at an alarming rate, and it lands in the chair. And now we're all like, "What just happened?" I howled. That was one of the funniest things I've ever seen. Is Adam just, I'm gonna get you, and then, bam! And it's like. That was hilarious.
At that point, I was 6 foot 175,
and probably a lot of muscle.
Very muscular, very little fat because I'm a teenager, right? And I was lifting weights and running. You know, I ran cross country, played soccer, and he threw me like a rag doll.
Dude,
it was just we forgot about it because it was just like whatever. And then all of a sudden, here he comes.
He comes flying out. You know, I told you, and I'll make this one short, but I told you that reminded me of the time that I was playing basketball, and they paired me and Todd up against each other. And I'm like, why are they going to put me on a guy that's so much shorter than I am, right? And I got a little irritated by it. So I thought I'll rough him up a little bit and get my inside game going, and I'll just score on him. And he's like, dude, you better stop all that. And I guess I was getting too rough. And I said, whatever, what are you going to do? Nothing. You know. He picked me up. I was 6 foot tall. He picked me up and threw me into the yard. We're off the little patio. We were playing basketball on it. I just go sailing. I land. He goes, I told you not to do that.
And he said it just like that, too. He didn't get all...
He never gets excited. No, he just, I told you not to do that. And I was like, got it. Never did again. Never did again. I mean, you see a 6 foot dude playing basketball and goes flying into a yard. You get your attention. You're like, what the hell just happened? Anyway, all right. Now we got our story out. Thank you guys. Hey, if y'all want to hear something specific, let us know. Otherwise, thanks for enjoying. Spread it. Subscribe, like, tell everybody you know, and then tell people you don't know. So, thanks for coming out. Stay classy, GP. We're out.